We're gonna, the rest of the time we got tonight, we're gonna try and quickly hit some things on finances and on kids. Some of this may apply, some of it may not, so take it with a grain of salt, but a lot of this is pretty universal. I don't care what type of economic system you live under. And some of these I won't spend much time on at all, because your money is not going to manage itself. You know, that is really, really true. You need to start out, you need to have a plan as a couple. We tell people all the time, and I'll show you later a budget that we did, but you need to have a budget. You need to have some sort of plan between the two of you, if you're married, or going to be married, about how you're going to deal with your money. Because a lot of people come from different backgrounds, and putting those two together is not always that super difficult, but sometimes it is. If you've got somebody that's not a spender, and you've got somebody else that grew up that they could always spend anytime, anywhere, for anything, and all of a sudden you don't have a whole lot of money, there's going to be some serious problems when you get the bills, which can really wreck your marriage. You know, when they talk about marriages, that the things that wreck it are sex, finances, and in-laws, and that can be a lot of the case. A far more consequence than how much money you make is what you're doing with what you are now earning. I'll show you that a little bit more in a second. You can't afford to spend more than he makes. Boy, I learned that lesson the hard way for a while. Easy credit on items that depreciate rapidly is a bummer. Depreciate means that it goes down in value. If it's going to be used up or rapidly become valueless, you don't borrow money for that. You don't borrow money for groceries. You go hungry. Put it another way, you know, if it's not a house and you can't pay cash, you shouldn't be buying it. I'm sorry, you just shouldn't. I'm even up to vehicles on that. Now, people might say, well, I just can't possibly do that. I will tell you that Rena and I now, yes, we do. We did buy a house this year. And I'm now on a thing that we got a 30-year loan on it. It's no big deal because I'm on a pattern to pay it off in 3 years. But nothing else. We have no other debt. Would not have any debt. If I buy another vehicle, I go. If I've got the money to pay it, I buy it with cash. Otherwise, I don't buy another vehicle. Things that depreciate other than that, there's just no way that you can go into that. No matter how much you make, there are many things you cannot afford. We'll talk more about that when we talk about kids and stuff. Here was a thing that Matthew had to learn when he was a kid more than once. And it was just a little bitty ditty poem that in English, but it's an absolute foolproof method for becoming debt-free. If you owe any money at all, here's how to get out of debt. Use it up. Wear it out. Make it do or do without. Let me explain them all. Use it up. How many people in here eat leftovers? Most of you. You're all Europeans. In America, if I ask that, less than probably 25% eat their leftovers. I just throw it away. That's money gone right down the rat hole. If I make a chicken, it don't leave my house until I've eaten it up. But that's not only true of that, but it's also true of everything else. I had a TV. We just recently bought a new TV in our home. The other one was 20 years old. It was in a wooden box about so like so. Obviously, it was not high def. And then all these people that made a lot less money than I do were all going, when are you going to get yourself a big fancy TV? And they would do that for years, you know. You know, they got big screens, Bill. Why don't you go out and get one? I'm going, this one's just fine. You know, you wear it out. If it don't work anymore, yeah, then if you need to get something, you get something new. But just because, ooh, they got, do you know that Apple has a newer, cooler laptop than this one? Your computer's 4 years old.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute. Still does everything I need it to do. I think I'll keep it. It's not worn out yet. My desktop computer, how old is that sucker? 15 years? Probably. I upgraded the memory and upgraded the thing on it, and for what I need it to do, it does everything I need. Now, some of you might think, oh no, I gotta have, hey, would I like an iPad? Sure, I think they're kind of cool. Do I need it? No. My daughter is very good about reinforcing some of this to me. She goes, Dad, until you use your iPhone for what it was meant to, you don't need to buy no other technology. And she's right. I don't hardly know how to use this sucker. I can make a telephone call, that's good. That's what it's for. Use it up, wear it out, make it do. You don't need the latest gadget. You don't need the latest of anything. You can make it do. And finally, this is the one that gets most people. And unfortunately, this is the thing that we as Americans export more than anything bad, I believe. You should never do without, we tell you. You gotta have it, you gotta have it, you gotta have it. No, you should do without it. If you can't afford it, you should do without it. And that's just the way it is. Anyway, you will get out of debt if you follow those 4 rules. Okay, real quickly, these are all out of Proverbs. Proverbs is a pretty good book for dealing with money. Okay? First of all, give 10% to God, off the top. You remember I said yesterday, God's no respecter of persons. I don't care if it's here, there, or anywhere. There are those that would argue that tithing was only in the Old Testament, but that's not true. There's a verse in the New Testament that Jesus himself said that pretty much confirms the same thing. The whole point is, where's your heart? Give 10% away. I don't care how much money you make, you give 10% away. When the kids were little and they got $1, their mother and I expected them to give 10% to charity. That means that dime goes to charity. Maybe ain't much, but it develops a habit and a pattern. If you're not giving 10% away financially, you're stealing from God. He's giving you everything that you got anyway. Because, let's be real honest, he could drop any one of us right here, right now. Number 2, work hard. Just because the government or somebody else says, oh, you've done enough, God says work hard. You know how long the work week should be if we all lived by a biblical work week? 6 days, 12 hours, 72 hours a week. If you ain't working 72 hours a week, you are not working full-time biblically. It's just the way it is. So if you think, oh, this 30-hour work week is killing me, and I'm broke, well, maybe you should try working a little harder. I know that goes against some of the ideas in some parts of the world, but biblically it says work hard. The Bible says that you should work from morning to night, and by pretty much in Jewish times, morning to night was a 12-hour day. Sunlight to sundown. Get in there and get with the program. Seize the opportunity to better yourself. That's pretty straightforward, If you think that you can't do number 1 and you're not doing number 3, you got a problem there, You go, I don't make enough to give 10% away. Well, then do something to better yourself so that you can. Seek as much counsel and advice as you can get. I learned that one the hard way because early on I thought I was my own self-genius. Now I read. Don't be too proud to admit you've made a financial mistake. A lot of us do. Don't co-sign another person's notes, which means don't go in debt for somebody else. This is all straight out of Proverbs. Before making a financial decision, gather all the facts possible. That's pretty straightforward. If you're in business selling something, if your price is fair, stick to it. Be honest in all your dealings. Be careful about speculation. Yeah, speculation means risky things. Live debt-free. Yeah, especially once you can get out of debt. Build your business first before you build your house. What that means is, if you're out there working at building something, before you start spending on your own pleasures and everything else, make sure that your business is doing what it's supposed to be doing. Prepare for financial needs ahead by saving now. Yes, you should save and avoid get rich quick scheme. Okay, this is just, if you don't have a written budget, I don't care what country you live in, if you don't have a written budget, you're in deep trouble. You need to know where your money's at. Because, literally, here's what happens to people. Let's say you lose a job. How are you going to survive real easily, real quickly when you lose a job if you don't know where everything is at? Okay? You know what your income is? I always say after tax. And you'll have different things over there, but those were my expenses a long time ago. And what Rena and I had to do when we were broke was sit down and make sure, because I had 2 sides. I've had a long list on the left side and not so much on the right side. But the number at the bottom here had to be the same as that one at least to keep from going into more debt. And when we first sat down to do this budget years ago, it wasn't. Now I was faced with a choice. And if you're in that situation, you're faced with a choice. Cut some of this out or make this one bigger. But the first thing you have to do is, as a couple, get those two numbers to be even. Before you can start making money, you got to get so you're not losing money. And you got to know how much is coming in, you got to know how much is going out, and where it's going out to, and you have to be honest. But I highly, highly encourage you to get together when you're couples and write it out so that they both know. I still do the writing of the budget because I did from the beginning. Rena knows this is a good time to put this in. There is nothing, zero, about my finances that Rena does not have access to or know about. If you're a couple and you're trying to squirrel away a little money here or keep something there, so, well, I'm going to keep my own here, you know, no, everything about it is together. She knows where everything is at. Now, she may have something squirreled away from me, I don't know, but it wouldn't be much, and I wouldn't have a clue, and I can't imagine she would. But I know that she knows where everything that we have is, and so, yes, I may do the paperwork, but it's not that she's not a part of every part of this. Debt reduction plan. We do this primarily to the Americans, and when I'm here, I have just about everybody mad, because most Americans are in debt there, maybe there, and certainly there. And then God says to them, hey, you ought to go on a mission trip. Well, I can't afford to do that. See, when you're in debt, you can't afford to do too much of anything. They go, well, I can't go there. That would cost me $500. Yeah, that's why you build up some savings to do that. But it goes back to what money is. If you can't pay your credit card off every month when you get the bill, you got to be rid of that credit card. Okay? But I always pay it off. Well, remember, very simply, D is going to want to hang on to control of his or her money.
And not relinquish it to their spouse whatsoever, which is wrong.
But that's going to be a natural thing. And until they learn to let other people fill in the gaps, is going to make a lot of stupid money decisions. Just because they're going to do off-the-wall things spur of the moment because they just do. And it doesn't matter if that decision is with 10 euros, 1,000 euros, or 1,000,000 euros. You know, I tell people, it doesn't matter if you make $25,000, $250,000, or $1 million. If you spend more than you make, you're still broke.
Michael Jackson was broke.
Yeah. I mean, you hear that all the time. It's really true. It is really true. I knew people that could not live, you used to tell the kids there's a big difference between can and will. Can means you could, will means you're absolutely going to do it. Could not really should be would not, but they would not live on less than $100,000 a month. And if they didn't have that much money in their budget, they thought they were flat broke. Let's be real honest. Any of us could live on less than that a month and live quite well. So it's all a matter of our perspective on how we look at it. And S's tend to be a little tight.
They want the security, obviously, they don't want their boat rocked, and either they don't want their boat rocked to deal with the money, so they don't deal with it well, or they don't want their boat rocked, so they don't spend anything and they hoard it, you know? So it just depends on how their personality takes them in that situation.
And C's are good. You know, C's make good budget people, there's no question, they're good accountants.
But a lot of times, they will be accountants for other people. But we have a case in point of a nephew that we know of. He's a bank examiner, bank accountant, has very brilliant things. He cannot manage his own money. He does well for other people, but not well for himself. So the devil knows where you have a shortfall, and he'll find it, and he'll mess with that place.
When it's about men making decisions, right? Like,
Only if you can't work it out together.
Okay.
Never just otherwise. It's always should be worked out between the two people. Only if truly after prayer and really good legitimate effort, you both have different decisions. Remember I said Rena and I will always think differently about something? Only then does it become the man's responsibility to make the decision to live with that, whatever it is.
So if I look at finances and I would imagine there is a man who has an I character and you have the woman who is a C, for instance, and C is probably a bit better in finances than the I person who wants to spend everything. How then it's still like the man should be in charge of the finances and
She
then,
should work with him in every way she can.
but the guy would
She
always
may have to do the
be
details.
No, he won't always.
She may have to make the payments, you know, those types of things. If he gives her that control and that personality would want control of the seat, then she would use that control to do the things that she is good at. But if there is a tough decision, a very hard decision, and he won't allow her input to change his mind, then if he makes that decision and it's wrong, he has to make it right. And it is his problem in the final saying.
But, you know,
Got
in
it.
all honesty, most times, if it's approached like that, let's say it was a C and an I, you know, it came that I started to realize that, yes, as an I did a lot of stupid things. And once I started to understand that, then I started to go, okay, babe, what should we do in this situation? Because I knew my own weaknesses.